Good evening, everybody. My name is Aaron Stabell, and I'm here as part of the Hal Leonard education team. Thrilled to join you tonight for a webinar that I've been excited about for, I think probably around a year now, since I first collaborated with some colleagues to think of this idea. And before we get started, before we get into it, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Sheet Music Plus. I hope that everybody has already used Sheet Music Plus, but if not, something that you're going to want to check out. And I know you're going to want to check it out because you're going to want to use the 10% off coupon that every attendee from this webinar is going to receive after we're all done. So everybody that's here and everybody that's registered, even if you're not watching in real time, you should get a coupon to Sheet Music Plus. Now, if that wasn't enough, we also are going to have 3 giveaways over the course of the evening that are going to be $100 Sheet Music Plus gift cards. So if you're here with us, this is only for the people that can attend live. If you're here with us, you have a shot at a Sheet Music Plus gift card for $100. And at the very end of the webinar, we're going to do a bonus draw, which is going to be for a Sheet Music Plus gift card plus our partners from iRig have sent us graciously an iRig iPad stand and Bluetooth page turner. So when you're working with your students on all the great Roger Emerson and Mac Huff arrangements that I'm sure you all are doing in your schools, you can put them on your iPad and turn the pages with a Bluetooth page turner if you win this drawing. So please stick around till the end because that is a really pretty sweet prize. I wish I was eligible to win it because I want one of those Bluetooth page turners myself, but I will not win. We've already agreed to that tonight. So that's a really exciting part of what we have going on here. I also want to let people know that this is being recorded. And if you have colleagues or friends that want to watch this after the fact, or people who maybe are in a time zone that makes that impossible, you will be getting a recording of this after a couple days go by here. And you also will get a certificate at the end that says you attended this professional development session. And it does depend a little bit on where you are and what the rules in your school district are. But if that's a possibility for you to use towards some professional development hours, we're happy to provide that for you. And if it's not something that's accepted by your governing body, at least you can print it out and put it on the wall to help remember this great evening that we had with Roger and Mac. So I want to introduce them. I don't think that either of them really need very much introduction. And so maybe what I'll say instead is that when I first got to spend some time with Roger and Mac, I think it was probably at ACDA last year. And I know Roger and I got to know each other a little bit at the Jazz Educators Network conference one year too. But, as a teacher, I remember doing pieces with my kids and thinking, names like Roger Emerson, Mike Sweeney, Mac Huff, these are people that are larger than life. These are legendary characters. And sure enough, when I found myself across the dinner table with these folks, I realized they're great human beings and they're a heck of a lot of fun to be with. And they're people who are doing great work for music educators. And it's just so much fun to get to know them a little bit. And so this webinar is probably the lightest in terms of, content, but it might be the richest in terms of if you're just interested in having a good time and getting to know a little bit more about the folks who are arranging and writing the music that you're hearing in choir rooms around the world, across the country, around the world, who knows, maybe in outer space by this point. I wouldn't put it past them. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome our special guests of honor for the evening, both coming to us from California, where it's probably 80 degrees warmer than it is here in New York. We have Roger Emerson with us and Mac Huff. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to see you both.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for that introduction. Oh, my goodness. I'm so flattered.
I'm glad we got that on tape.
We sure did. We sure did.
Can I get one of those Bluetooth pedals?
Oh, well, Roger, I'll tell you, if you win, we have to respin. That's the rules.
Yeah.
It's only, no one affiliated with the webinar is allowed to win. Trust me, because if it was, I allowed Tuesday, I won $100 Sheet Music Plus gift card, and they had to give it away to someone else.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's
man.
all right. How are you both? Doing okay? Is it beautiful
Excellent.
out there in California?
Excellent. Yeah. Staying out of the heat.
Yeah, Mac is down. Of course, California's a long state. He's down in the southern part. I'm in the northern part. It's very Wisconsin-like today. It's gray and cold, and
Oh
so
no.
yeah, I got my sweater vest on just to stay
Right.
warm. But it's coming. Spring's
Yeah.
coming. So
Yeah, you'll have a good summer, I'm sure.
for sure.
Well, I think maybe the first thing that we could kind of give everybody a glimpse into is, and I don't know the story for both of you, whether they're similar or whether they're different, but maybe a little bit about your background. Like, how did you know that choral arranging was going to be your thing? Mac, what did you do as a kid, and how did you kind of get your start? Maybe you could go into the story a little bit because I don't really know it.
Well, actually, two things come to mind. First of all, my dad was a very, very famous barbershop arranger and barbershopper and worked for the international headquarters. So if you're a barbershopper, we have the same name. I'm a junior, he's a senior. Everyone knew him. So we talked around the dinner table when I was 10 years old about key changes and what keys to write things in. And I mean, it was part of the normal discourse. When I went to high school in the early 70s, they had a show choir and a director that said, why don't you write for the show choir? And that's how that started. But I was just lucky that early on in my career, I had all this influence that vocal music was going to be what I do, I think.
Yeah.
Roger, what about you?
Well, sort of similar. My mom used to arrange for live radio in Los Angeles. Like in the 30s. And so, it was in my blood. I had two older brothers. I wanted to do something better than they did. They were quite musical as well. And I think my first arranging was probably for my rock and roll band. As a teenager, I remember, lifting songs off of records, at 15, 16 years old, learning the bass lines and the guitar chords and things. And I distinctly remember this one moment. My mom's out hanging up clothes, in Southern California. And she was such a good musician. And I was just learning. I might have been 13, just learning basic chords, 1, 4, 5. And I was trying to lift this Beatle tune or something. And she goes, well, that's one of these secondary chords, it was a D minor, an E minor, or A minor. I go, oh, yeah, that has common tones with the chord I thought it was. So, yeah. So it's been quite a treat.
That's awesome. So parent mentors for both of you, but I'm sure you must have had other mentors along the way too, because what you're describing about your folks were still pretty different than what you ended up doing. Roger, who else kind of helped you along your way? Names that we might know, names that we might not know, either way. But
well, the most interesting thing is, of course, I was singing a lot, and my mom had singing groups and stuff in the house, sort of 4 freshmen, high-lows, kind of close voice harmony. But I was in a really fine 5th and 6th grade choir with Irita Cushing, who became supervisor of music in the Anaheim School District there by Disneyland. But then in junior high, they just had like girls' glee and marching band, and I was a singing guitar player. So high school, I just didn't connect there. I was doing student government and playing in a rock and roll band. So it was Kirby Shaw at College of the Siskiyous, it was kismet, right place, right time. He was unpublished. He was 28. I was 19. And we just hit it off. And there was there's to this day, still a great synergy. He's in his 80s now, and we'll still go to breakfast. And they have to kick us out because we take so much time sitting and talking music and kids and education. And
so did you say you were not in choir in high school? Is that right?
No,
Wow.
I was.
That's a question for a trivia contest somewhere. That's amazing. Mac, what about you? Any mentors that you want to shout out, or anything interesting about that part of your story?
Back when I first started writing, a guy named Jim Kimmel was the first person that actually believed in me. And he left Hal Leonard and started Jensen Publications. This was in the late 70s, early 80s. So Jim gave me my first publication, which I And I also, people don't know this, but I was close and had a mentor with a guy named Don Hinshaw. And Don, yeah, Don and I were just close friends. And he was watching over my career. When I would see him at conventions, he would pull me aside and say, do this, don't do that. Basically telling me to stick to my musical guns. That's what Don's influence was. And then Roger and I both, I think about influences over the last 25, 30 years. Emily Crocker definitely is one of my mentors.
Yeah.
Because she ran the Choral Center, and then we published so much material with her. And I'm very lucky to have her as a mentor.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Go ahead, Raj.
And we learn from each other. You know, we've been so fortunate. You know, Mac and Mark and John and Emily and Audrey and Rollo, and we influence each other. We're all sort of sponges, I think, and still learning and still growing. So that's the greatest thing about writing and teaching, is that you never stop growing. There's always more to learn. And yeah, it's a
yeah. That's something that has struck me in our conversations, which is that you are in touch with not just each other, but with like a whole bunch of composers and arrangers that people would recognize, right? And you talk to them on a pretty regular basis. So maybe you, if there's a story, tell it. I'm interested in who and how, but also what kind of things you think you're learning from these people still, and how that's all worked.
So which story do you want to hear, Mac?
Well, March 2020, when the pandemic hit, we all knew we were going to be seeing each other. Yeah. And so we decided on Thursday at 3:30 that we would Zoom call. And it was, like I said, Audrey and Emily and Rollo. And well, we still do it to this day. Yeah. Which is, we've kept it going years, and not everybody's on every call every year, but there's always a link that goes out. We call it the Thursday Zoom, and sometimes it's our musical therapy, you know, where I'm having an issue with this, and what would you do if you were writing this, and does this lyric bother you? And I mean, just name it, but we still do it, and you know, they've all logged on to this. So,
are they on here?
I'm looking over at the chat.
The hecklers.
I was going to say, because you're missing the meeting now, right? That's incredible. Wow.
It's the interesting thing is that we knew each other, what I thought was well, because we would do workshops together and things, but we've become so much closer. I guess the pandemic either kills you or makes you better. But for us, we know more about our families and things of that nature. That is, I don't know, just it's been a real joy. You know, it truly is a family. The Hal Leonard family, you know, we had this wonderful 35, 40-year run together, and we're still doing it. But and we're excited about the new people that are coming on board. It's terrific, like yourself, Aaron, you know, and Luke Talon and Patricia, and of course Stacy, and and now Zach Moore, I think, is joining us, and we're excited about him because he's a wonderful writer. And
great. Well, I was going to say that sense of family and belonging is something that I felt right away. And as I mentioned, you know, I have a background I was a band director for 15 years, but my wife is a great chorus choir director here in New York State. And so, you know, I've played lots of your arrangements with her choirs, you know, and I remember playing drums on all kinds of stuff. And I definitely had a kind of starstruck moment when I think it was at ACDA, and I was talking to Roger, who I already knew, and then I turn around and I look down at the bed. Oh, it's Mac Huff, and then I turn around and it's Rollo or whoever. But you're exactly right. Like it's great. You're so welcoming, and everybody's kind of connected in that way, and it's a really fantastic thing. And I think it's really fun too to be able to now connect with all the folks that are here in this webinar, you know, and hopefully they can be connected in that way to you too. If we could just pause for a moment, I'd like to maybe do our first giveaway, if that's okay with you, gentlemen. Okay. So let's see who our winner is going to be for a Sheet Music Plus gift card for $100. Woo! And that could be used on Roger or Mac arrangements or any other things. It looks like our winner is Jennifer Jenkins.
Yay, Jen.
Jennifer.
Jennifer,
Thanks for
you are
tuning
the
in.
winner. We will be in touch and help you to know how to use that gift card. And actually, Jennifer has a great question in the Q&A. She says, Roger, she met you in New Jersey this year.
Neat.
And the question is, have you ever had a song that you look back and wish that you did it differently? That's a great question.
Oh boy,
Mac, what do you think? Any?
Oh, you asked Roger first.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to try and condense this real quick because I was at a workshop once, and it's sort of related. And one of the students, I think I'd been writing about 5, 6, 7 years, said, "What was your least favorite song that you've ever arranged?" And I had just done this piece called "Slow Down, I'll Find You" from a Susan Anton movie that my boss, Art Jensen, said, "Arrange this." And of course, in the early days, Mac,
right.
The publisher says, arrange it, you arrange it. It just wasn't much of a song. And I mentioned this song. There is a teacher at the back who's waving her hand wildly saying, "My kids loved that song." and it was one of those epiphanal moments that if you believe in a piece and you can share that with your kids, it worked.
Yeah.
So I can't think of any specifics. There's always little places that I go, if only I'd done this. And I know that John Williams, Paul Lavender, talks about John Williams still tweaking Raiders of the Lost Ark when he goes out and does a workshop. I can't believe it. Right. So I hope that helps. John.
Mac, what about you? What comes to mind for you?
Same
Mac?
way. A piece is never done. Somebody once told me creation is done by two people: one to do the work and one to tell you when you're finished. And and I am never finished. And I'll be sitting in a concert or something, and somebody will do something and go, "That's what I should have done there." I have an epiphany, but it's always happening. So that you never second guess that. It's never done. You have to give it away at some point and let it go.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also, pieces morph as you work with another group and go, if I was writing for this group, I would have done this. If I was, and we try and sort of shoot for the middle, for the greatest good for the greatest number. I know that in fact, I made some notes. Mac yesterday said, "What are we going to talk about?" I made some notes here. One of the things is that as a result of the pandemic, I'm writing easier. I'm doing more lines, more unison lines, more 2-part in SAB, just to help in the rebuilding process.
Right.
Yeah. And Roger, I think there's another thing that you're doing, and I'm not sure if others are or not yet, but you've started to change the way that voice parts are. Like you've added another voice part now to some of your music, right? Can you talk a little bit about that and why you did it and what's going on there?
And Mac's done some of these revoicings too, but in particular, there's a couple things, two sort of changes I'm really excited about. One is taking, you'd always hear, when you do 3-part mix, that third part is always a compromise. It is John Cooksey's sort of third classification in the voice change. And so the idea is if I can get my 8 baritone to sing this melodic 6-note part, I'm in, but that changes all the time. And so I started adding, and for any of you teachers out there where you're writing, oh, that D is too high, let me put it down here. I've added a bass part. So the tenor and basses are together until they get to that high part, and then add basically a bass part.
Do you cue those?
No, I've been doing it full, and we label them SAT Parents B. So they exist completely as a 3-part mixed, and then and it's a great sort of introduction to SATB. And the other thing, and I'll turn it over to Mac, is some 2-part mixed or SB arrangements. Again, I think Mark Breimer did a nice sort of a trilogy or a medley here a couple of years ago. And I've done a couple pieces that way in our new catalogs coming out. So, yeah.
Right. This music, I did that with the music from Wish. because it was a soprano and a baritone singing all the way through. So why not do it SB, if you want to call it that, as one of the voicings? And I also did a double treble voicing, a 3-part voicing, and a 4-part, which we'll do with Disney. We'll do multiple voice.
And the nice thing about digital, although we're very fortunate, Hal Leonard has agreed actually to put into a formal production in print, in paper, all those voicings. But I've often said maybe we just provide some of these more alternate voicings in digital form, and maybe even I'm brainstorming here that as with our relationship with Muse Group, who has now purchased Hal Leonard, that the opportunity for pieces where you can change keys, and where I go, I don't want my kids to see the piano part. I want to just see the vocal parts. That in the digital format, that will be a great way to sort of provide these alternatives.
Right.
Fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very exciting. And one of our gift card winner asks, really in middle school, really enjoying SSAB voicing. Would you consider creating more of those as well? And my guess is you would, right?
Right.
Yeah. With our 3-part mix with the added quote unquote bass, although it gets down to an F at times, that's sort of low for a junior high alto. But if we could pop the whole thing up a step, suddenly it opens up, because we have tons of 3-part mix things that could suddenly be SSA with a baritone part. But I think SSAB, I'm on board.
Right. Oh, I suddenly lost you.
Uh-oh.
I can hear you, Roger. I'm not hearing you.
I know why. I know
Oh.
why. Now we're all set.
Okay.
When
Are we boring you, Aaron?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to not my breathing gets heavy sometimes when I get excited about these things. So, when you're sitting down and you have kind of a blank piece of staff paper in front of you, or I don't know, maybe you use the computer, but nothing's there yet. How do you go about deciding what, when it's not something that someone else has asked for and it's up to you? What are some things that you think about when you make a decision? And this could be, that you just watched the new Disney movie and how do you choose which one? Or, it could be just even broader than that. How do you decide what the next piece you want to work on is?
Well, usually in development, by the time you get to the place where you're starting to write, you already have a really good idea where you're going, because otherwise I wouldn't have committed to the arrangement, so I have to, that's part of the development process. It's not just finding the song, finding what key and all that, but really figuring out the whole arrangement to make sure it's going to work for the voicings that we talked about. And by the time you do all that pre-work, by the time you sit down, you just got to go. And finale allows you to do that. Finale allows you just to keep things, and that doesn't work, I'll just shut this over here and maybe use it later. So you can work kind of fast. But by the time I'm sitting down, I kind of already know where I'm going. That wasn't the case when you were in pencil, but
Right.
Right. But I think I'm wondering maybe how do you choose which song to work on? How do if you don't know what piece to do, Roger, you did Both Sides Now recently, and that's been a great one. And that's a song that, it's made a little bit of a resurgence, but it's not a new song by any means.
Right.
So what are the things that sort of spark, this is the song I'd like to arrange next for you guys?
I often say, I think key to my longevity is pick good songs and try not to wreck them, and I say that sort of in jest, but at the same time, it's serious. And in the case of Both Sides Now, oh my goodness, it's been on everybody's list. I'm sure that many of our teachers and listeners here may not be aware that we at Hal Leonard, we have access to certain catalogs, songs that we can do. And our main competitor and our good friends over at Alfred, they have titles that they can access. Sometimes we can both access them. If you've ever gotten Don't Stop Believing, you got a Roger Emerson version and Alan Billingsley a version, and he was best man at my wedding. So, it's really weird. But in the case of Both Sides Now, and I think we might have it queued up, perhaps, if we want to listen and look a little bit. For me,
I think Melissa's got that for us. Keep talking, though.
It was, I felt such an obligation to do it well and do it right. And, as an arranger, I think Mac would agree, there's the first thing that comes to your mind, and then there's the best thing. And if you've got the time, then you can really spend it. I wanted to make sure and have it be authentic enough, and to feature a sort of a Joni Mitchell, Judy Collins kind of. So the soprano altos are featured a lot in it, but then it gets thicker and thicker and grows. And I won't tell you where it is in the song, but where I think we're going to play it, there's a Mac moment.
Oh.
And I'll explain that.
Love that.
So go ahead and roll it there, Melissa. Thank you. Yeah.
Balls and clothes of angel hair, and ice cream castles in the air, and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way, but now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. Every day I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusion
Mac, where's the Mac moment? There's two of them. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
There I am. My first of all, my reaction is I always think that the beauty behind vocal writing is how you shift from unison to duet to trio and then how that mirrors with telling the story in the lyric. And that's a perfect example of what you do there. It's just masterful writing.
Thank you. I learned from you.
Oh, we learn from each other.
So the Mac moment could either be the pyramid or the end. The end really is Mac. and you know, I got this because Mac, there's always a place in a Mac Huff arrangement that we call Mac moment. That is either it's a key change or a change in texture or a borrowed chord or something. And so, yeah, that's my ode to Mac there. And, you know, it's just a timeless tune. The lyrics are so meaningful. They were meaningful in a different way when I was 20 and a different way when I was 30. And now when I'm 40,
we almost let that go by.
It was an honor to arrange that piece. Seriously.
Yeah, she's in the zeitgeist too. So suddenly that happens with certain artists. That, you know, suddenly she was on the Grammys and she was, you know, so it was great. She was in people's mind. That's many times how things are chosen to be published. You know, you try to find things that people want or people are listening to.
Yeah. Right. So how about you've got a piece, Mac, I think, that you're excited to share.
I do. Well, you know, also when
Aaron has some other idea. So
this is something totally different because this is a show choir piece. I many times I'll just find this is the niche. This is who this is for and write for that niche. And this is a show choir piece. It's an old Bob Singer's song from Beverly Hills Cop 2 called Shakedown. That was back in, I don't know if you remember The Heat Is On and all that great music back in the first Beverly Hills Cop music movies. They were nominated for Academy Award, was #1 on Billboard, and I've always wanted to do it. So I wanted it to be a show choir anthem. So it's scored for full rhythm, full horns, blast, and the moments at the end. So
beautiful. We'll get that queued up, and I think that we just have to make sure that that we mute so that that's why we had that little echo at the beginning. That's all. All right, so Mac, what is this one more time for us?
Oh, Shakedown from Beverly Hills Cop 2.
All right, here we go.
It's not enough. No matter who you think you know, you won't get through. It's a given, LA law. Someone's faster on
That's great.
Yeah,
I
man.
think
You out Kirby'd Kirby.
You don't find songs like that, where you can really rock and roll.
Oh, it's perfect. Perfect.
It's about like
might be
Yeah.
better than the movie Beverly Hills Cop too.
Yeah, really well
actually,
done.
very good.
What a
How
contrast
about
to both sides now. It's beautiful.
yeah, really? I think we did them in the right order too.
Yeah.
How about another giveaway drawing, fellas? Is that cool? Here, we got another Sheet Music Plus gift card to give away. So let's see who it'll be this time. It's gonna be Linda. Linda Hamby is gonna win $100 Sheet Music Plus gift card. Congratulations, Linda. That'll be great. You could probably buy both of those arrangements or any other ones that you're interested in. And I want to let people know, if you hang in there a couple more minutes with us, not only do we have that special giveaway, but we also have a little sneak peek at the end of some of the new Hal Leonard choral publications that are not even out yet. But our friend Luke and Stacy, they said it was okay if we give a little sneak peek. So we've got that coming up. So that'll be pretty fun. And I have to give you credit, because I think I've never been a part of a Hal Leonard webinar that had 83 heart emojis. Now we're up to 84. This is the most heart emojis we've ever had on a Hal Leonard webinar, which obviously means
the red button. No.
You keep doing it. It's you doing it. Exactly. I'm not surprised even a bit on that. That's fantastic. Well, gentlemen, this has been as much fun as I expected it would be, which is great. Roger, one thing I wanted to make sure we touched on with you is, and we started to kind of talk about this a little bit earlier, and I think that we sort of got sidetracked, but you've been also working on some music that has alternative voicings for the transitioning voices, right? Can you talk just a little bit more about that? Because I think that's a new thing, right? But it's an important one.
Well, we have had that. We had that discussion almost 2 years ago now, over breakfast, a year and a half ago. I have a transgender son, and I have a real. 2 years ago at ACDA Western, I got a chance to see Stevie J. Herner's voices in transition, basically, session where she introduced the taking of a part. If a voice is changing as a result of being on hormone therapy, her idea was that to create a part that's some alto and some tenor, and it's sort of a flex part in the middle. It's called I call it a flex part. She calls it a line recombination. And if you just Google Stevie J. Herner and want to know more about it, her website is fabulous. But the workshops I've been giving is not as much about a new voicing, but it is re-envisioning the voicings that we have. Our 3-part mixed and our 2-part, and how you can reassign. The nice thing about numbering parts instead of SATB is there's no gender necessarily associated with them, and so that's working pretty well, and the workshop's been very successful. Again, and sometimes flipping parts works really well, so that you're doing them in a different octave. Teachers do this all the time, and I've just tried to codify it a little bit more. And I hope to do more of that in the future. So hope that helps.
I think that's great. Absolutely. We have a great question here. This question says, wouldn't you both agree that John Jacobson pretty much carried your career for all these decades? That question came from John Jacobson. That's who asked the question.
Shall I share about the first time I slept with John Jacobson?
No.
I'm not sure that we should.
No, I'm going to share it because he brought it up. It was in a dorm, in separate beds at Milliken, and it was so cold. We had just met each other. It was a brand new dorm. The air conditioning was so cold. All they gave us was a sheet, and we literally took the curtains down off the windows and laid them on us. Just make sure you put the hooks at your feet and not around your neck. There you go, John. You asked for it.
Oh, I really hope I don't lose my job after this.
I don't get it.
If I do, Roger, I'm coming to
edit
your
it
house.
out for the one.
I have a G-rated answer for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, and a shameless plug. There are 99 more of those little stories in here. So.
Mac, you got something to share too about
well, John and I have known each other since he was 19 and I was 20.
Yeah.
So I've known John probably longer than I've known anybody in my life. And we vacation together. We've been best friends forever. We worked together forever and ever and ever. Have 19 different shows, elementary shows we did together. So, yeah, it's been a long, long time. He's still one of my great friends.
Yeah.
There you go, John.
That's the camaraderie is beautiful. It's such a great thing. A lot of great people with not with questions, but just that we're really into the arrangements. Or this is, I think, a really nice one. So exciting to listen to people who have been in the business as long as they both have and still be excited about what they're doing. And another person who said it was a real honor to hear this music directly from you. So I would echo all of those comments. And then a great question here. If either of you are planning on writing any more musicals for young students, I know those are really popular. Any plans for that?
Well, John did carry our careers. Well, we're hoping. You know, the focus at Hal Leonard sort of changed, particularly with the Broadway junior shows coming in. It was just it was an economic. They're very expensive to record the soundtracks, quite frankly. I hope that again we can do more. Yep. I mean, Max and John's I Need a Vacation and all those great shows, and of course Pirates and those. We'd like to do more. We've done some independently, like Zombies, but that was outside of our publisher. But yeah, they're so much fun to write. I mean, the collaboration is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And while we're talking quickly about composing and arranging, I really encourage our listeners, you know, our teacher friends, write and arrange for your kids. It creates a bond, a special bond with them. And now with Arrange Me, which is a Hal Leonard platform that allows you to legally do arrangements and upload them and originals or arrangements, just makes it nice and easy. And yeah. So Mac,
that's funny that you said that. Yeah, go ahead, Mac. Go ahead.
I agree. I totally agree with everything Roger just said. Yeah, writing for your own kids is a great thing. A lot of people start that way, but yeah, I agree. And you know your group. There's no way we can write for your group. You know,
right.
So. Yeah, I mean that's something we talk about on the education team all the time. Is that we don't know the students in your classrooms as well as you do by any possible way. So that's something that we always try to honor and respect, is that bond between the teacher and the student is so vital and so strong in so many cases. So if there was a better time, I don't know what it is, to just thank all the teachers for all that they're doing, because without the teachers, I don't think any of the three of us would be where we are right now, you know? So absolutely. Oh, a great debt to all those folks. So I guess the question then becomes, what's out there that's that's new that you folks are interested in or liking? Like, are there any new up and coming composers that we should watch out for, or new arrangements that you've heard that you really are into? And I don't think we even need to necessarily limit it to choir or even to school music, but just like what's coming through your field of view that you're excited about these days? And Roger, you just have to keep it, G-rated as much as you can, please.
What you see is what you get, folks. So
right, well, Melissa has her finger on the mute button.
Yeah, you gotta have, we used to say with John, you got to have the 5-second delay. But for me, of course, musical theater. I love musical theater. I mean, certainly Pasek and Paul and all the work that they have done was a real boon. There are a lot of new young composers coming up. I mean, you hear more of them probably at your ACDAs and things. But like as a Katrina Gimmon, for instance, I love Kyle Pedersen's work. When you hear Zach Moore's work, it's really, it's good stuff. The choral community is in good shape. And there's so much out there.
Right.
Yeah, and Carrie Tennant and her series, some wonderful pieces.
Right.
Nice
I
stuff.
think teachers would like to. I think teachers would like to know that, you know, a lot of, like, particularly in musical theater, a lot of writers are very involved in what we do. Stephen Schwartz knows every note that we've ever published. He's really into music education, and I love that he gets what we do, and he looks at everything that we do. So Basic and Paul, the same thing. Those guys are amazing. I just worked on the Anne Juliet music, which is all Max Miller, which is this amazing rock and roll stuff, but done Broadway. Then I took and did it chorally as well. So there's lots of
awesome.
great things coming down the pike.
Love it. A great question that I can't believe we didn't think to talk about yet, but Victoria asks, what advice would you give to new music educators coming into the profession? What would you say? Mac, you want to have anything? You want to go first?
Well, let me think about that. Welcome. We need you. It's great. I mean, there's a lot of really great young teachers out there, and stick with it. You know, the first couple of years, as you know, can be treacherous sometimes. But stick with it and build your program, and, you know, and hopefully you have good people feeding into the program, but give it time, and usually talk to each other,
you know, meet the kids where they are and be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I think when when I started teaching, of course, with Kirby as my mentor, I wanted to be a Kirby, and I sort of just had to be a Roger. And if you're authentic with kids, and you admit when you don't know something, say, and laugh at their uniqueness. You know, you sort of got to go with them, because there's that tendency to want to have this very high musicianship bar, and the reality is it's sort of like, you know, you got to put the spinach in the lasagna, so to speak, and be flexible. It's okay to do easy. You know, one of my most moving moments was the Toronto Children's Choir singing "Bistu" by Mir unison. You know, we get this idea that quality is in thickness. Well, it can be, but it can also be in a unison line. So, make beautiful music. Do less of it if you have to. Don't feel like you got to do a lot.
Right. Introduce kids to everything. I'm classically trained. I was I thought I was going to be a pianist. So I was in the world of Beethoven and Mozart, but yet it was also arranging Richard Rodgers and Mariah Carey or whatever. You know, I was living both because I loved both and I saw the value in both. So give kids everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, and I love all that, and I would just add to that, you know, shameless plug, I suppose, but a lot of our mission on the Hal Leonard education team really it's not a cliche to say this. We really do want to try to help educators in whatever way we can. And I know that you gentlemen agree with that completely. And I think that when I was starting to speak at the beginning and I was talking about how sometimes you look at your names on a page and it appears to be a little bit larger than life sometimes. And I think that when I was teaching, maybe others agree with this. I used to think that about Hal Leonard too, that it was this, you know, castle in the sky, and it was not a place that we could reach or connect with. And that's exactly what our team on the education team is all about, is trying to interface with teachers and connect with them and help to find out what is right for their students and also what's not right for their students or what might not work as well for them. So I want to just say one more time on behalf of everybody, and certainly not just on behalf of myself, but in front of our whole team, HLEDU@halleonard.com. There's no question that's too small or nothing. So no such thing as a bad question. We're happy to help curate programs or help you really, you know, to do anything that you could use our help with. That's what we're here for.
Ditto for us, you know, MacHuff.com, RogerEmerson.com. We talk to teachers all day long, you know, so it's
happy to help. Also, you know, as particularly the choral division in particular, we've got resources for just about everybody. You think, you know, sight singing materials, Emily Crocker sound patterns, and Audrey Snyder's Sing on Sight, and Christy Miller's Quick Starts. and of course pop rounds and all those kinds of things that we use. And then the Discovery series that Audrey Schneider curates, which is very education oriented. That the ranges are consistent, the voice leading is consistent, the notes at the beginning, performance notes and educator notes are well thought out and helpful. We were all teachers, and so for us, I think music is really just a vehicle to build relationships and to build better musicians, lifelong musicians, hopefully. So
Right.
Awesome. Well, I don't want us to run out of time, and there are some more great questions that I think we'll try to squeeze in if we can. But there are two things that we absolutely have to do. One is to do the big giveaway, and the other is to take a look at the sneak peek of the new chorals that are coming out. So let's do it in that order. This is the big giveaway for the iRig page turner and iPad stand pack plus $100 Sheet Music Plus gift card. Let's see who the lucky winner is.
It's John Jacobson. I'm going to be very.
It's even better. It's Luke Talon. Luke Talon, who is in charge of all things choral at Hal Leonard. He cannot be the winner, unfortunately. Sorry, Luke.
We love you.
Let's see if we can get any better luck here. This looks like it's going to work out. Gloria Fox.
All right,
Gloria, you have won the grand prize of the evening, $100 Sheet Music Plus gift card, plus the iRig page turner and iPad stand. Thanks to our partners at iRig for providing that stuff. We have a great shout out in the Q&A for Essential Elements Music class too, which is a product that I know we all are big fans of. That's a K-5 general music curriculum. We had a great session a couple hours ago from Darla Hanley from Berkeley, and she was talking a lot about upper elementary school and incorporating other things as well, but a little bit of EE music class in there. So we had a lot of great sessions the last couple of days. We're very excited about all this. Melissa is going to get this queued up for us, I think, in a second here, but we're going to get a chance to take a look at some of the new stuff that's happening for Hal Leonard Choral, and I would not be surprised if you gentlemen make an appearance here, although maybe not. And just while that's getting set up, somebody had a good question about Arrange Me earlier. Roger, I know you've taken big time advantage of Arrange Me. Yeah. I mean, essentially what we're looking at is an opportunity for anyone who wants to write an arrangement has access to the entire Hal Leonard catalog of licensing agreements. And you can search, if you go to arrangeme.com, you can search for the song that you're interested in arranging. And as long as you publish it through Arrange Me now, it's a legal arrangement. Because I know for a long time, I mean, I think about my dad was an orchestra teacher, and he had a lot of great arrangements, but he was like a little afraid to have them play off campus, because what if the wrong person hears it? Now he's in big trouble, And Arrange Me has really kind of eliminated that barrier, which is something I'm really thrilled by. Yeah. So actually, Melissa has informed me this is a pop-up that will bring you to the Choral Spectrum landing page. So you're going to get the sneak peek. So there it is, right on cue. Melissa triggers the pop-up. So you can click on preview now, and you'll get a chance to see all the new stuff that's coming out. And if I remember correctly, this is not even stuff that's released quite yet, but it'll be released pretty soon as part of our new offering. So that's there for you. And we have, I think, just time for maybe one more question. And I think this is probably a good culminating question here. When do you feel like you, quote unquote, made it? Like, was there a moment in your career where you said, like, I mean, other than this right now, is there a moment in your career where you were like, all right, yeah, this is happening for me? Or is it still kind of a surreal work in progress feeling? I don't know who wants to take a stab at it first, but
I don't know. I never think I make it.
We're still working on it. There's two moments that come to mind for me. One is I was teaching making $6,000 a year, and my first royalty check was $6,000. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. The other was years ago, I received this little note. I checked into a hotel in Dallas. If you've heard this, please forgive me. It said, "Dear Mr. Emerson, your arrangements are cheap, tawdry, predictable, overblown. My choir loves them."
That's fantastic. Roger, do you remember the piece that got you that royalty check? Was it, do you remember what it was?
Cinnamon and First We Must Be Friends.
Yeah, there you go. Mac, any parting story like that before we have to go?
Boy, I don't know. I loved when I first started writing for Hal Leonard. I loved getting into I look for things that are not in print. I think everything should be in print at some point. We had a lot of Richard Rogers, for instance, that wasn't in print. We had a lot of Cole Porter that wasn't in print. A lot of Gershwin that wasn't in print. So that's really my love of that. So early on, I was setting all those and things that are still in, like my Richard Rogers in concert for concert band and chorus is still in print. 35 years later. So
iconic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, speaking of iconic, I think that describes both of you.
Thank you.
Very well. It's been, I mean, truly, it's been an honor for me. Like I said, my wife is upstairs, I think, watching this as a choral fan, a big fan. But it's just so wonderful that you gentlemen would be willing to spend some time with us and just the stories. I mean, this is exactly kind of what we expected. Maybe that just a fun hang with you two. And if I know you well, like I think I do, if anybody sees you at ACDA or any kind of conference, there's a potential for a hang there usually too, if I'm not mistaken. So come say hi and be in touch. RogerEmerson.com and MacHuff.com are two places that you can reach these gentlemen, as well as HLEDU at HalLeonard.com. We're happy to forward those messages over as well. We're in pretty good touch with these guys, as you might imagine, because they're writing a lot of good music for us. So we're very grateful.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Well, thank you really to all the
teachers,
attendees who are here. Yeah, what a great audience. And thanks for all the great questions. Really appreciate you. And like we said, couldn't do it without you. So thank you all. I hope everybody has a great evening. And it's as I like to say, Thursday is almost the weekend. So everybody have a great weekend.
Did you say almost the weekend?
I knew we weren't going to.
Oh my God.
Believe it or not, we actually had a discussion earlier today about whether it was going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Sure enough. All right.
Martinez with
7 o'clock here. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you. Have a great evening.
Everyone.
Appreciate you. Good night. Thanks so much.